That's not good.
What? Got something coming?
You don't want to know.
I didn't ask.
Oh. Okay then. We'll leave that to you. Are we ready to roll?
I'm just gonna sit here awkwardly.
Okay, sounds good.
Fire it up.
Fire it up.
Fire it up.
Are you ready for the startup experience of a lifetime? 3 determined guys building their dreams and sharing their journey. Buckle up and grab a beer, because these guys will blow your mind. You're locked in to the Jerusalem Hub audio experience, and it all starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Jerusalem Hub audio experience. I'm Shalom Makowitz.
Aaron Menlowitz.
And we are Jerusalem Hub. The purpose of this podcast is for us to broadcast our journey, as well as teach you what we've learned along the way, and hopefully learn from you as well.
And please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and share our content and love.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and diddles.
Okay.
Are we up to 18 already?
That's just what happens, man. Time flies.
Oh, yeah.
Time flies, and we've learned a lot. I will say that.
Yeah. Why is there a magazine on the table?
We're going to discuss that soon.
Oh.
We're not there yet. Anyhow, today we're going to discuss a few things, but we're going to start off with asking a question. For those who are listening now, or for those who are going to be listening afterwards, we'd love to see your comments, and we will do our best to respond to them. First question. So our question is, what does it take to be creative? How can you change the world with your idea?
Ooh.
Just to give you an example here. Well, first of all, you have to find your niche. You have to find what you're passionate about. For example, when we say niche, it means like finding a hole.
Is it niche or niche?
Niche? Pretty sure it's niche.
Pretty sure it's niche.
Yeah, it's niche. Fact checked over there.
You guys, you must coffee still, right?
Yeah.
I'll take your coffee. So we got our slave now. It's amazing.
You can't use that word anymore. No, I'm kidding.
We were slaves. Why can't we use that?
No, he likes being called slave. That's the truth.
No.
Yeah. But what does that mean, find your niche? It means you have to, first of all, find something that you really like to do, aka passionate. It also means that you have to find something that innovates the business world as we know it. For example, the Marx Brothers, right? What did they do? They wanted to change travel. And what did they do? They decided to build an airplane so people can travel by air.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You seem very confused
The Marx
there.
Brothers?
Yeah, isn't it the Marx Brothers?
I thought the Marx Brothers was comedy.
The Wright Brothers. The Wright Brothers. Idiot. They are comedy. That's true. The Wright Brothers. Yes.
The Wright Brothers.
That's going to happen from time to time.
That's hilarious.
That was actually my mistake. I wrote that.
Yeah, that was the slave's mistake. In any sense, the Wright Brothers, they wanted to revolutionize travel, and everyone thought they were crazy, and they said, we want to fly. We're going to travel by air. And they achieved it, and they did it. And
How far did they fly? Like,
I'm not sure how far they flew. Should we find out how far they flew?
the first flight was like 10 feet or something. I don't know.
I knew it wasn't the Marx Brothers.
I think the
You
Marx
said
Brothers.
something If you knew it wasn't the Marx Brothers.
Because I was taking
That's
your
why I was like sitting here confused.
I took your
like,
word
what's
for it
going
because
on?
I was like, he's the smart one. He must know.
Listen,
But
I know lots of stuff, but I don't know everything. Okay.
you don't
I
know.
have some gaps.
No, you've basically proved you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Their first flight
Brotherly love, everybody. Brotherly love.
On December 17th, 1903, Orville Wright piloted the first powered airplane 20 feet above a wind-swept beach in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
The flight lasted 12 seconds.
Kill Devil Hill?
And covered...
Is that where it was?
I don't think so. I don't know. And covered 120 feet. 3 more flights were made that day, with Orville's brother, Wilbur, piloting the record flight lasting 59 seconds over a distance of 852 feet. So even though... So that's another thing. That's another thing to really take into account is that even though they achieved travel by air, it took strides. They went from, they went
Little itty bitty steps.
little steps, little by little.
And now we have so much air travel.
Do you want sugar?
No, please.
Yeah, me neither.
Sugar. If anybody drinks sugar in their coffee, comment.
Yeah, please comment on anything. Comment on the fact that we completely got the Wright brothers and the Marx brothers.
I'm not included in the we.
You are now included in the we.
Damn it.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? What does it take to be creative? How can you find a change? How can you change the world with your idea?
So let's go back. What does it mean to be creative? This is kind of tying back into what we spoke about last week. What is creativity?
I mean, we tapped into it slightly.
Yeah. So creativity is the expression of one's self in the ways that they desire, I guess. Like if you're creative in art, then you'll be an artist. You'll paint. You'll do sculptures. I don't know, many different things. Creative could turn into using, taking your idea, like we're talking about changing the world with creativity.
Yeah.
Look at a problem that's in the world and think of an idea that might fix it.
Right.
Like all the plastic waste in the world. I've seen so many different ideas for changing it. Like there's this boat in the Baltimore Harbor that sucks up all the plastic and waste and use it as reusable energy.
Right.
So like that's one way.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Do you think in this day and age, do you think that it is difficult to come up with an innovative idea now because based on
I don't think so.
Based on what we call now, just put it here. It's all good. Thank you. Based on what we call now the information age, right? Mm-hmm. The world, before the information age came, there were three major things that were invented that kind of changed the world. What is that? That would be cell phones, internet, and personal computers. Right? Which
travel.
made things, travel. But travel was, we're not talking about travel. We're talking about way after travel. But like now that those things exist, there are a lot more possibilities out there. But those possibilities are now limited because everyone is thinking of doing the same thing. So how hard is it, you think, to be creative in today's day and age?
I don't think it's hard at all. The world is wide open and infinite. There's always new things that are coming up. It's just, like you're saying, it goes down to the root of the person's creativity. Either someone's going to think of an idea that's creative or not. It's not a difficult thing.
Well, I'll put it to you.
The ideas aren't difficult. How many ideas do you come up with every day?
I come up with a lot of ideas every day, but the thing is that what I've come to notice, a lot is that when people come up with an idea and they succeed in that idea, it's only then do they start becoming super creative with the idea.
Or before.
Well, no, I'm saying at first, yes. Let's say you have nothing. You're starting a business, right? You come up with an idea. You're pursuing that idea. You obviously have a big picture idea of what your idea is going to look like.
Right.
But you can only do one thing at a time in order to actually implement it and make it successful in its own right, in some way.
Okay.
And the only way that it becomes, the only way where I think like real critical thinking and real creativity comes is when you've already well established who you are. Like I'll give you a huge example that I'm thinking about right now. And I was going to talk about this later, but we can touch up on it a little bit either way. Which is, that was a weird noise that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Which is, like Facebook, for example. What was Facebook at first? Facebook at first was, let's take it before Zuckerberg touched it, right? What did they want? They wanted to come up with a social networking system so that people can meet Harvard people. Mm-hmm. So women can meet Harvard men, right? Yeah. Then they asked Zuckerberg to help them with it. And what did Zuckerberg do? He's like, social network. You guys are thinking way too simply here. Right. Let's turn it into a party, but online.
Yeah.
where everyone can access their friends just like that, right?
Yes.
Then once he was once he was well established, he turned it into much more than it was then. He's now like, now it's a marketing tool. Now it's helping with people furthering their businesses, with people using their own personal branding,
Right.
what have you. And the thing is that what?
Nothing.
Oh,
Everything.
the thing is that you can have the one guy who has the big idea.
Right.
But I think because of the way the information age is and all the devices that we have with the internet and with the fact that you now have a personal computer in your hand, the creativity only begins once you physically have it in your. Wow. Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
Once you physically have it in the palm of your hand. Meaning, he came up with the idea. He got the funding. He did what he had to do. But at some point, like the real creativity began once he was very well established. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's
So I would say there's two different types of creativity. There's the initialization of the project type of creativity,
okay.
and then there's the innovation optimization part of the creativity.
Okay.
Meaning, like, there was the innovation and creativity of the two brothers with the idea, right?
Right.
And then Mark Zuckerberg came in, and well, he was a totally different brain, and he had a totally different outlook on it. But he was already taking an idea that was already creatively thought about and implemented, and well, not fully implemented, and he innovated it with an optimization to make it even better.
Right.
So I've had that experience myself when I came into a startup and I had to think of solutions. And that all boiled down to using creativity to find the solutions for someone
Right.
else's idea.
The interesting thing is that I will add, just to add on to your story, is that I think creativity and solutions nowadays is very different than what it used to be before we had the internet.
100%. But I was just latching on to what you were saying with the Zuckerberg thing, that there was two different types of creativity in that sense.
Right.
Yep.
But it's interesting how the world as it operates today has fundamentally completely changed because of internet, personal computers, and cell phones.
Right.
Like
Which came
before
from
that,
creativity.
the crazy thing is that I'm old enough to remember that we had to make phone calls from landlines.
Mm-hmm.
Having a cell phone was a luxury. You know what I mean? I can't, it's crazy to believe that I was around at that time.
Now here's a little bit of innovative creativity that we're going to be doing right now. Our Facebook live feed went down on the phone. I'm doing this right now. So we got to get this back up.
To reach the people.
Right, because it's not working on there, so I got to lappity-toppity. But keep going. We're going to get this up.
Okay. Okay. Hi. No, I'm kidding. Okay, either way. So it's interesting, I come up with ideas all the time, right? And sometimes they're good ideas, sometimes they're okay ideas. Truth of the matter is, for those who are listening, there is no such thing as a good or a bad idea. There's such thing as holy.
Who's doing that? That's really funny. Go on.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad idea. There's such thing as ideas. There's such thing as an idea and whether or not you have the passion to pursue it through, to see it through. And the real reality to it is that most great ideas are the most simplistic, dumb ideas out there. So when we talk about creativity, what are we really talking about? Are we talking about coming up with this insane, crazy idea? Or are we talking about dumbing it down a little bit and just coming up with something very, very simple?
Well, that's where it starts. You got to start with the simple. Whenever we sit with startups and they have all these elaborate ideas, how the app is going to work, it's going to have this, it's going to have this, what's it called, part to it, it's going to have this small aspect connection to another app,
right,
in order to make the thing even greater, and it just gets crazy. So the most important thing is to dumb it down to the point where
To a simple start.
bare bones. This is the whole purpose of that, and also the bigger issue, with doing too much, is that the end consumer of the product, is going to just get freaking confused.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember I was watching. Have you ever seen the show Silicon Valley?
No, I actually haven't.
Oh, you'd actually really like it. For those who don't know, Silicon Valley is basically an HBO show that's about it's about this guy starting a startup and how he has to deal with the business end of it. Even though he's not a business person, he's more of an engineer person. And there's this interesting part where they finally make it, and they have the money, and they've built the program, whatever it is that they're trying to sell, and they've given it to people, and it's a genius program, right?
Yeah.
But no one knows how to use it because they built it the way an engineer would use it.
Try this again.
Not the way the average Joe would use it. And where am I going with this? Totally lost my train of thought because of this whole computer thing.
Yeah, this is called working on the fly.
Yeah.
It's just not connected.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Do you want to?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I guess. But basically, what?
You do mind or you don't mind?
I don't care.
Not working. Let's move it.
It makes no difference to me.
Why are you trying to jump in?
Well, I have ideas. Hold on. I can do this. It's,
Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
He's jumping in. Don't break the table.
It's, I'm smart. I can do stuff. Not like everybody thinks. I'm smart, not dumb.
Okay. And he said, why don't you pull the chair up?
Yeah, that's right up.
In any sense, so basically they came up with this idea, like, oh, we're gonna find a way to dumb it down for people, and so they're trying to come up with these ways that they could teach people how to use the program, but it was so complex and so hard to use, and the average Joe couldn't understand how to use it, that they completely tanked, which actually, reminds me of. Have you ever used AWS?
Yes.
It's incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
And
But-
I think the people who designed AWS kind of did the same thing, where it was just like they made it for people who actually know how to build servers.
Yes.
Because I had
That's the point of it.
I spent countless and countless of hours to learn just a smidgen of AWS.
Yeah,
You know
where I
AWS.
used to work in, I was using AWS through terminal on my computer. That's how I accessed the servers in order to edit stuff.
So,
That was a more complex part of it.
Do you want to add? He wants to add something.
yeah.
What would you like to add?
The only reason I pulled myself up.
Pepe Le Pew here. Come close to the mic.
Ouch. Is this good?
Look at the camera, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. So what I'm thinking is, and tell me if I'm way off, but you're talking about how like
so way
designing for engineers and stuff like that.
I mean, I was using that as an example because we're
Right.
talking about coming up with an idea, but it has to be more simplistic, less complicated.
Right. So by simple, maybe the word we're looking for is accessible. Like it shouldn't be for like a select group of people. Like the Facebook thing is
It caters to everybody.
It's for everybody, not
That's
just
the
for
whole
people
idea,
at
yeah.
Harvard. So, in other words, the key to a good idea, what makes the good idea a great idea, is
From a
bringing
creative
it
standpoint.
to everybody, as opposed to a niche of people.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Essentially.
There's two ways of looking at that. You can either say that you're going for worldwide, which I'm sure was, let's say, in Facebook's thing. Mark Zuckerberg was not thinking about worldwide when he was thinking about college campuses.
Right. But then
That's what he was thinking. And then he said, "Oh, this is working, and more people are talking about it. Let's go state by state." And then he had to buy more servers. And then eventually it went country to country, and it's like, okay, we can make this worldwide. But that was market penetration. That was market. Their market research.
Sure.
They went from a niche group who were kids at college, and then eventually they went for everybody.
Right.
So, yes, you want to go try to hit everybody, but
I mean,
at the same time, you need to hit that niche group first, the most
like a
targeted
test
group, because they are more likely to buy it.
Sure.
than anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a test group, but like ideally speaking, if you're only thinking about the niche, then you're really missing the big picture.
No, I would disagree with that again, because let's say you're only going for the niche in, let's talk about dog products. You're not going to sell ballerina shoes to people who like dogs.
Sure.
Unless they like ballerinas, but you're not going to target, let's say, a Facebook ad or something like that to, like, you're selling dog leashes to people who have no interest in dogs.
Sure, but you might sell cat stuff,
Maybe.
right?
Assuming they like cat stuff.
I think for the most part, it depends on the market. Like, for example, if you're selling a car, you're gonna sell it to whomever needs the car. Depending on, like, if
Right.
you're selling minivans, obviously you're gonna target families. But
Right, but you're also looking for people. You're targeting
Right.
people who are in the market to buy this stuff.
Sure.
yeah,
It's not just anybody.
right. So
That's the difference between a good marketing strategy and a really weak marketing strategy. When you throw out, like, if I were to I could do a Facebook ad, get 1 penny per like right now. Any niche, and the whole target will be completely
So
off.
let me ask you this question then.
But it'll be off. That's the problem.
Give me an example of a strong strategy and a weak strategy. 2 examples. One of a strong strategy, one of a weak strategy. Just
Yeah, so I was just
Anything.
saying, a weak strategy. If you're going, let's say we try to build up our Facebook page.
okay.
Yeah, we want to get 10,000 likes, which I could get us 10,000 likes for $120.
But they're BS likes.
But they're BS likes. Even though they're real people, they're not dumb. They're not super targeted people who will interact with our content. We want to get super targeted people who will interact with our content. So a $120 10,000 person like campaign is not going to do it for that.
Right.
What will do it if we super target our ad
Is pushing
for
content.
people who have to like a certain type of pages or interests that they all have in common, that they all for sure like each one of them. However the campaign will work, but it's not going to be a penny per like. It's going to be, it could be up to 30 cents to $1, even though that's cheap, but
it adds
Fair
up.
point, Mike Mendowitz. Fair point.
yeah.
So on a creativity standpoint, when you're coming up with an idea,
I do marketing all day.
from a creativity standpoint, when you're coming up with an idea, it's got to be something simple. Start simplistically, and then as things are gradually progressing and you see some forms of success, you can start to branch out.
Yes.
That's one.
But it's safe to say that like the ultimate goal is to reach as many people as possible. So if
Obviously,
you can broaden
any
your idea,
any business idea is that goal.
right?
Yeah.
So if you can
But-
broaden your idea to reach the masses, that's like priority number 1.
But that's the opposite of what he said.
Right. So I'm trying to find a middle ground.
The middle ground, there is no middle ground.
I'm just wrong.
I mean, there probably is a middle ground, but that's not how it's done. That's not how most marketing strategies are put
well, yeah,
together.
I'm not talking.
Like, you're not gonna pick any market right now, and we'll break it down. Any market.
any more.
Pick any
Okay, sports.
sports. Yeah, so you create a sports page or a sports product.
Right.
Like, I don't know, pick a sports project. Jump rope. Cups.
But that has a target market.
That is a very, very tight target market.
But
Fine,
it
let's talk
doesn't.
about cups. The cups, like when people stack the cups and they like throw them down.
No, not those. The cups to protect your balls when you're playing a sport.
Okay, you're gonna sell. So basically, you just cut out females.
Yeah, but you can sell the children.
You could sell to children, but you cut out females unless
That's
they're
a good
trannies.
point. Hey, it's a very good point.
No females, and you're only going to be targeting people who need the cups. So that means maybe
Women
baseball
don't
players,
wear any
football
protection
players,
then?
hockey players. What?
Women don't wear any protection.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I would imagine they
Well,
do.
let us know.
They might, but
Okay, fine.
but then yeah, cups. So
let's
you
think
got
of a legit business.
football, hockey,
Football, hockey, baseball,
baseball when they're bad, if they're at bat,
cricket.
So yeah.
I don't know. You could also come up with ways you can innovate the cup so that it can be more accessible for other sports.
sizes.
biking, biking, tennis. You know what I mean?
Should have air holes in it.
Right.
They do
biking.
have- they do have
the
air
holes.
equivalent for cups for biking is biking pants, because
They have
anybody
those
who's
in
been
them, right?
There you
biking
go.
feels like they've been.
So
violated.
the truth of the matter is, let's say that you had an idea out there where you were building,
Coffee's good, though.
you were developing this like first of the line, innovative, amazing cup that's different than all the regular cups out there, right?
Yeah.
It was comfortable. It was light. It was whatever the hell, right? So the first thing is you have to build a prototype. Then you have to make a niche. Come up with one target market. Let's say it's baseball, right? Mm-hmm. You test that target market, and if it works for baseball, then you can start expanding it and changing. Then once you see a little bit of success working with baseball,
Yeah.
what?
The table's shaking.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. From then, once you see the success working with baseball, then you can start changing the product around so that it can be accessible for other sports, and that's how you'd expand the market. Done.
Shell.
Yeah.
Broken down.
But you
So-
still can't do most people.
True, but there's a lot of sports out
Meaning
there.
you could probably cut out 65 and up,
But how many?
unless they're
different-
playing sports.
How many different kinds of sports are there where you could be getting some sort of an injury, and you'd need a cup?
Yeah.
So many sports.
Figure skating.
Figure skating, horseback
Like
riding.
not even cups. Just think about like any part of like pulled groin is an issue too.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we could prevent that?
Yeah,
Like these are ideas, people. Write them down.
but like basically, so on a creative standpoint, just so we can continue onward, you gotta come up with something simple. And as far as the big picture is, we all have big picture ideas. We all want to think about how our idea is going to grow. But if you're starting something right now, creativity wise, simple and stupid.
Yeah.
Get that started.
Dumb it down.
Dumb it down, get that started, and as you start reaching certain successes, then you can start expanding towards the more complicated markets.
Or more general markets.
Preach.
But I would suggest just do as tight as possible.
Tight? Are you talking about the cup still?
No, I'm talking about the market.
Oh,
Tight.
Start tight. I hear that. That makes sense. You don't want to You don't want to start by trying to cater to everybody, because
Because you can't.
you can't, and you're gonna have a lack of direction, and things are gonna fall apart quickly.
Yeah, and you're going to have, for the amount of people that you're hitting, you're not going to get the amount of sales.
and
Anyway.
and just for anybody out there who's listening that has an idea and people have shot it down, they said it was stupid. Any idea is a good idea. As long as you're being creative, it means you're different than everyone else, and that's a good thing.
False. Most ideas suck.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Any idea is a good idea, and it should be tried until you should see it to the end. Take it until it's a final conclusion. If it doesn't work, then you have experience. You can move
Yeah.
on to the next thing. The whole point is to keep things moving until it completely dies down and ends. That way, it'll give
Just
you
keep
that way.
spinning.
Right. That way, you'll build the experience so you can start on the next creative idea. Because we're always one idea away from $1 million or whatever it's called. I don't
$1 billion. We're going for unicorn status.
Okay. Unicorn status.
Unicorn status when you're a billionaire.
And as far as creativity wise, I wrote down some examples, like as in terms of creativity in the economy. If we were talking about transportation, what is the evolution of transportation? It started with walking, right? Which then
Yeah.
started with horseback riding, then horse buggies, whatever, what have you.
The wheel.
The wheel, correct. The wheel was invented, and then, but we also had trains.
Well, first the wheel.
The wheel, then we had wagons.
Horse and buggy.
Horse and buggy. Then we had cars, I believe. Or we had trains first. Right, trains first. Then we had cars. Then we had planes. Now we have Uber. No, the point is that
So we have drones.
right. The point is that throughout history, people have used their creativity to start something simple. You had it on the dot, right? Mm-hmm. Wheels. After horseback, well, one horse can maybe carry two people. Can't carry a family. So someone decided to invent a wheel, and then what do we have?
Well, I don't know
wagon.
if the history of the wheel was made for transportation in the first place.
It was made for like pressing
Probably
olives.
either that or agriculture.
It has, I believe it has.
I'm gonna look that up, actually.
Prehistoric
Yeah, the what's it called? The
Caveman.
Everyone's
Caveman.
seen that like invent.com commercial or whatever where the guy's like, it's like Neanderthal.
I can Google it. What was the wheel invented for?
the first wheels were
Okay.
not used for transportation. Oh,
I mean,
Who called that?
I
Well,
wasn't.
see, this
I
is why
wasn't
we need you.
I wasn't I wasn't disagreeing. With
I know you weren't, but I'm just
He's
like,
he's
oh, it's
just
pretty
basking
cool
in
that I
glory.
I called that one. Evidence indicates they were created to serve as potter's wheels around 3500 BC in Mesopotamia, 300 years before someone figured out to use them for chariots. The ancient Greeks invented Western philosophy and the wheelbarrow.
Neato.
So it seems like it was used for agriculture, whatever it was, and then they use it for chariots, for warfare, to kill those Neanderthals.
Ethnic cleansing.
Yeah. Well, there was a ton of ethnic
So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you, and you
read
can,
Sapiens. If
you can
wanna
give
know
me the
about that.
evolution without reading it off my screen.
Okay.
You're reading it off my screen.
Because it's right in front of me.
Maybe you could look in front of you and not look.
I'm a cheater.
Okay, communication.
Yes.
What's the evolution of communication amongst people? Besides for talking, of course, like in person.
Communication.
Like long distance communication, you mean?
Do you have a full historical list of it?
I don't. I just had what I came up with.
So what came first, telegrams or Morse?
Okay, so you're reading it now. I would say telegrams came first.
Well, Telegram is an app, so it didn't.
Okay.
Do you know what a
fair
telegram
enough.
is?
What's a telegram?
Wasn't there between a telegram and Morse?
Morse code.
Morse
is,
code is sent through telegrams.
So telegram came first.
No, that's the method of communication.
No. What I mean by telegram, okay, maybe it's the wrong word. Telegram in my means that
Telegram.
I have a message that I want to send to
Telegram.
you, and you're down the road or whatever it is.
Right, and then you
So-
did that through Morse code.
So I give the letter to somebody, and he gives it to you.
No, so that's basically a letter.
A courier. That's what it's called.
Yeah, mail courier.
Mail courier. Fine. Whatever. Shut up.
Western Union.
I actually studied Morse code. It was pretty cool. When I was in
Sounds-
Uncle Nev, that's the nerdiest thing I did there.
Sounds like something you would do.
What am I saying?
You're saying SOS?
Okay. So fine. So let's say Morse code.
Yeah.
Then
I don't know.
phones.
Phones?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean,
Radio.
Radio. Okay. Fine.
radio?
We'll just look it up the list right now.
Yeah. Evolution.
History of communication.
What's gonna
Research.
give you like? It's gonna give you like the language answer.
Yeah.
Evolution of language.
The timeline or something.
I got it.
Better than shouting. Does it say there the
Cave paintings, pictograms, carrier pigeons, first postal service, the marathon man,
yeah. Runner.
heliographs, paper, town
Town crier.
crier. Oh, got it. Town
newspaper.
crier.
That's
Got
so
it.
funny.
Daily newspaper, Morse code,
The telephone.
telephone,
radio.
first transatlantic signal. Okay, so you were right.
Yeah.
Radio, television.
Intranet.
That's internet?
Looks like
ARPANET? Okay, I guess that is internet. Oh, www, that's internet. Then AIM, which is
Actually, AIM,
Instant
it was instant messaging was created by ICQ, an Israeli company, and then AIM bought it from that Israeli company.
blogging, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, WhatsApp.
Hashtag startup
Yeah.
nation all day long.
So, instant messaging was created by Israelis. So BDS, eat that next time you text.
Okay, that's a little intense. Oh, you got me all choked up for some reason. Okay. So, what value do you think creativity has in the economy / marketplace? Tremendous value.
I would say so.
It's a
A
dumb
lot.
question. That's a pretty stupid question.
There's a lot because there's innovation creation. You already have what I meant by you have creative, not innovation. Yeah, creative innovation off of something that was already an idea that was like you have the shopping, like the marketplace shopping.
Right.
So what can you invent to convenience people to not have to go to a grocery store. So then you have online shopping. Like that's what we do. We don't go into a grocery store anymore. We go online and we order all our food, and that's very, very convenient because I
Right.
hate going into the stupid
Now,
supermarket.
segueing into that.
Yeah.
Segueing into that, which is something that you enjoy talking about.
Segways?
No.
I actually never
that's nice.
rode on a Segway
What?
before.
Before you get there,
Sure.
I just had like one more thing to add about what creativity
I'm
adds
about
to
to
the
argue with him.
economy. That's perfect. I think arguing is
Just say
Awesome.
it. Just don't.
Wrong.
creativity. What I would like to focus on is the value that creativity adds to the economy in this way. Like travel, for instance, right? Travel used to cost, like, say, a week's wages to travel like 300 miles, and it used to take like weeks. Now you can do 300 miles in like a couple of hours for a day's wages. That adds such like an unimaginable, uncalculable amount of value to the economy, and like a very,
Yes.
yeah.
Basically, we're taking creativity, and you can use that in your own job. Like if you wanna grow in your workplace and impress your boss, you think of a solution to make the processes faster, or be creative in order to bring in more value.
Which
That's all creativity.
Which brings us on to, with creativity and with being in the information age and having a lot of access to a lot of information, would you like to describe how important it is to be resourceful?
Extremely important.
Go for it.
Well, let's talk about resourcefulness.
What does resourcefulness mean?
Resourcefulness to me means that you have a task at hand, and you don't have the means in front of you to do it, but how will you go about finding those means to make that task, to complete that task? I think that would be the most general way of going about what resourcefulness is. And which ties into creativity, because at some point you're going to have to be creative about where you find your resources. And part of that is, like, I go back to where my job, or where I used to work. I was in charge of building third-party technology to integrate into the app, and I had to find solutions. So a lot of that, I was online a lot looking for things. I was on GitHub looking for third-party apps where I could integrate in, and I had to be creative in looking for these sources. Or let's say a server went down or something. There's something going on the app itself that's not working. You have to be really creative to find a solution, which is part of resourcefulness. And or let's bring it down to a completely different topic. Let's say you're in sales and you need to find someone to sell to. So part of being resourceful is having that creative mind to know where to. You don't even have to know where to look. You have to have the idea of, oh, I could look in all these different places. I could source leads from LinkedIn. I could source leads from Twitter. I could source leads from Instagram. I could source leads from Facebook. I could source leads from the freaking phone book. I could go over to my friend and ask him, oh, do you know somebody who's interested in this? Like, it's just spreading your mind out to know that you could do almost anything.
Would you
Creativity, yeah.
Would you mind describing that kind of process? Is it sort of like reverse engineering?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're completely reverse engineering that task that needs to be done. Exactly. Meaning that you have to go through you have to build a checklist in your mind. I need to figure out how to do something. I want to learn how to make a video, one of those crazy Instagram videos that Gary Vee makes. How do I do that? How do I make my videos look exactly like his, which we accomplished yesterday? I basically got it down. That goes down to studying the video, like one of his videos, looking at all the elements that he does, all the cuts, the subtitles. How do you go about putting subtitles in the video and making them look cute? How do you go about adding the text on the top and the bottom? and then exporting it, and then it's all about finding the sources for that. So how do I learn how to do that? What apps do I use to make this happen? Google is like my best friend for that. YouTube, there's so many tutorials online that will teach you how to make and edit videos in that exact way.
So let me ask you this. What would you say to someone who understands how to be resourceful, understands how to do all those things, realizes that they have access to all of that, but their excuse is that they simply don't have the time. It is time consuming.
They're lazy.
That's it.
Complete laziness. Because you have everything you need right over here. You go on your laptop right now, anything you want to learn, it's right there. Any knowledge you need to know, any possible task that you need to complete is right under your fingertips. Every single step of the way has been done by somebody before, and it's there.
Also, another really cool thing that I've noticed through Facebook ads is that they have this new thing called Masterclass.
Yeah.
Which is like everything involving if you want to be a director, if you want to learn how to be an astronaut, if you want to learn how to do anything you want to learn how to do, they have the most outstanding people in those fields giving a complete class teaching you how to do that.
Two things.
You're not allowed to throw gang signs on the podcast.
I'm sorry. No, I meant to. I'm so awkward with culture today. But
this is the guy who thought the Marx Brothers invented the airplane, and this is the guy who didn't use resourcefulness to fact check that.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to rail on you now. Like, you made this whole list of all these steps before in the last section, and what research was done on that. Ouch! Resourcefulness.
There you go.
Like, why did I have to look up the wheel? It should have been in there already.
So
that's true.
I would like to first argue with...
You live and you learn.
But
you should learn and live. Okay, argue.
I'd like to first argue with Aaron real quick. I wouldn't describe it as laziness. I would...
Which part?
The idea of not using resources, taking advantage of the resources you have. I mean, it is like simply put, it's laziness. But what it actually is not getting to the root of the problem. It's taking a step back and like writing. It's being overwhelmed by other things. Like, allow yourself to take a step back and realize that taking advantage of resources is a lot easier than it sounds. Resourcefulness is like a huge, like,
it's like a heavy burden.
So tell me, let me try to break that down. Like, tell me if I'm wrong or if I misunderstood you. You're saying, let's say you have a major task that you have to get done. So you look at that task like, how the hell am I going to get that done? So the first thing you think about is, oh no, I can't do it, and then you don't even think about resourcefulness. Is that where you're trying to get at?
Yeah, I mean, my job requires a lot of research about topics that I have no idea about.
Yeah.
Which means essentially you're gaining experience in how to be resorceful.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And when I first did it, I was like so overwhelmed by like learning like new things that I had known nothing about.
Can I interject? I just want to add on to that story. When we were first creating this podcast, I didn't think I needed to do research and listen to other podcasts until recently, where I was like, okay, wait a second, idiot. You need to listen to other people who do this in order to better understand how to structure a good podcast.
I think I mentioned that to you also.
Okay, Mr. Genie in the bottle.
Yeah. I'm a genie in a bottle.
So, yeah.
Don't.
Okay. Don't.
You think we drained the well of that first
in any
thing?
sense? No. The truth of the matter is that resourcefulness is a skill that needs to be learned just like any other skill. It's a skill that you need to do. It's like going to the gym and working on building your muscles. It's the same thing. Granted, he called me out big time. Yeah, I should have been a little more resourceful. That's true. Truth of the matter is that now that I learned the lesson, I'm going to do better doing my research.
Go on.
And the really cool thing about doing research is, especially on the internet, you could probably use about max 15 minutes and be like a lay expert on any subject.
Exactly.
Although I will tell you something. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add the super secret to being the most resourceful human being for anybody is being resourceful. let's say, what do I mean by that? Somebody asks a question, let's say, on Facebook, or they ask you personally, do you know how to do this? I'm not sure, like I'm trying to figure this out, like a really technical question, and you don't know yourself, but what you do know is how to be resourceful, which they obviously don't.
Right,
You're basically being their knight in shining armor.
In a sense, you are.
And then they come to you for more information.
That's true. That is true. But the truth of the matter is that, like I said, being resourceful is a muscle that needs to be strengthened. So although you are correct in the sense of saying, like, if you provide everyone with the answers, they're just going to keep coming to you and never figure it out for themselves. Yes, that's true.
For some people, you want that, because then you could sell them on your product eventually, and
I hear that,
and be their consultant at some point.
But for those people out there that are listening, as far as resourcefulness,
there's a business idea
for those. as far as people out there who are listening are concerned, I mean, are interested in wanting to know how to start being resourceful. I mean, obviously, for someone like you, who's a master at being resourceful and figuring things out on your own,
still learning.
Well, of course, we're always still learning. There's no such thing as the end. But the point is that for someone who's not that good at it, what is the simplest of advice that you can give them so they can start to get good at it? Because truth be told, when you first started exercising, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, how many push-ups do you think you could do?
When I first started, in a row, maybe 12. 12,
right? And then it was hard getting past 12.
Yeah.
But eventually, gradually, over time, you figured out how to pull your resources so that you can... Right. So you have to understand it from that perspective.
Yeah.
So how could you explain it in layman's terms for someone who doesn't know how to be resourceful? For example, people who are a lot older, they don't know how to use the internet as well as we do.
So how I would explain it is take the task at hand. Think about it. Like, what is the task that needs to be done? Write down. Break down, like you said, reverse engineer a little bit. What are micro tasks that make this task as a whole? Can we think of an example of, like, give me something crazy, just like bring it out, and we'll be resourceful right now. Let's do a real world example.
Learning how to make a chili. Not cook
how to chili?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Like in a slow cooker.
What I would do first, what I always do for recipes, because I cook a lot also, I Google. I go to Google and say, how do I make chili? And then Google shows me a list of all these different recipes. But I can't make all of them.
That can be overwhelming.
I can't make all of them because I keep kosher. So I start clicking through a few of them to see which ones are fit in that kosher category. And obviously I'm not going to do the one with beans, because the chili with beans is not traditional chili, because the real chili that make in Texas has no beans in it. It's just chili and meat. How do I know that? Because I actually learned how to make chili. It's a funny question.
Oh, okay.
Serendipity.
Isn't it amazing? But yeah, so that's the way I think is when I get hit with something I don't know, first place, Google. If it's something that is more hands-on, like YouTube. If programming, I'm hitting up, I also Google that too, but I'll either go on GitHub or...
what is GitHub?
GitHub is a source of... it's a place where people have open source software or programs where people just build things and share it, and it's all, you could just do anything there.
So I was just wondering, because when I first started doing research, I used YouTube a lot, but I found it like a tremendous waste of time a lot. I figured like scanning articles is a lot faster and a lot easier. When do you decide to go to YouTube? Is it like a last resort sort of thing?
So I usually start with Google.
Right.
If I see what I'm not finding, if I'm not finding, let's say pick any source, like I always start with Google, but if I find that I'm not getting what I need out of it, then I'm gonna go to the next resource, which would be YouTube. If I find it's not there, then I'm gonna do a search somewhere else. Like I'll search on LinkedIn, I'll search on Facebook, but usually between the two, between YouTube and Google, you usually have your answers within 10 minutes most of the time. And if not, then I'll do crowdsourcing.
So actually, I'm going to use this to segue to my second question, which is, when do you think it's acceptable to start paying for content? Because masterclass is like $90.
Yeah.
And every time I think about taking a masterclass, I'm like, what if I can get this information for free?
So that's a great question. I like that, actually, because I think sometimes that runs through my head as well.
Masterclass is essentially the shortcut.
Yeah.
Masterclass is a well of information, but who says that their information is just...
And here's the funny thing about masterclass. I've actually learned so many things from just like the advertisements that it's really intriguing. Like I study writing, for instance. I also watch tons of YouTube videos on writing.
Yeah.
And I listen to a masterclass like little ad, and I learn like a ton from those ads. And I'm like, whoa, well, maybe I should check this
Here's
out.
a real question.
There's always a place that has more information or different information.
Right.
Okay.
What's the question?
No, I was gonna say, what are the odds that the ad is all of the really good parts?
It's
Just
the
like
conundrum.
movies
Probably
nowadays.
not.
Yeah.
You know how in movies, like the way that they make the trailers, it's always the good.
I
Like
think
the
they-
greatest parts of the movie are in the trailer, and then you watch the movie. It's like, well, okay, that movie sucked.
Yeah, but that's the difference, because if it was all in the trailer, then people would be like en masse saying it's terrible.
Yeah.
So the question is, when do you pay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So until now, I actually have, besides for buying books,
Right.
I don't think I've ever paid for content, because most of the stuff I found is pretty accurate was free on YouTube or...
Truth of the matter is also, like, they have a master class on learning how to be a director, right, with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably find a bunch of YouTube videos of him giving lectures about becoming a director,
Right.
and learn everything that needs to be known.
Right,
Yeah.
but then it becomes a matter of cost benefit. Like, how much time are you going to spend doing that when you could just
But
get
he-
the $90?
but here's
Because
the
that's
thing.
not going to help you anyway, because the experience is more important.
But here's the
than-
thing: if we go back, if we're going back on creativity, you're basically learning from someone who is creative and outstanding in that art, but they started by being creative, by having people tell them no. So the truth
Yeah.
of the matter is, the most that you should be taking from those people is that, okay, they did it, and they are outspoken about what they did, and not only that, they have the motivation and the confidence to see it through. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're a writer, for example, which you are, I would take, what's more important to me is not the knowledge that they have, because they're your favorite writer. Who's your favorite writer?
Bernard
Cornwell.
Check him out. He's the best.
Okay, calm down. He's a creative person, right? But you're not looking to write like him. You're looking to write like you.
Right.
So the only thing that you should be taking from that person is the fact that he persevered. How many times do you think people told him no? People turned him down.
Right.
That's what you should be focusing on. You shouldn't be focusing on his content. You shouldn't be focused on being just like him, because there already is someone like him.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's the what's it called? The resourceful to experience ratio.
Right. Like, I'll give you an example. An interesting point is that when everyone watches these motivational videos on YouTube, and I've mentioned this before, but everyone watches these motivational interviews videos on YouTube, and the interesting thing is that even if you're watching the same video and you're listening to the same person talk, right? You still, for some reason, if your mentality has changed, and you are starting to see the benefits of your actual experience, and you're starting to grow,
Yeah.
the motivational video tells you something new every time. It teaches you something new every time. And the truth of the matter is, the reason why we have idols of these people that we look up to, who we try to emulate, we want to be like them, it's not because of what they've done. It's because of how they did it.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is, when you ask the question of whether or not you should pay for the masterclass, I say that's the shortcut, and you definitely should not.
Interesting.
I
Because
think you should if you're going to take an actional plan to use that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be an
somewhere.
astronaut, do it for sure. But you can find.
I'm gonna be an astronaut.
You
so
can find-
I paid for that program.
But why? But you're saying like don't take the shortcut. But if the shortcut exists, why not take it? That's like saying
Because we actually touched up on this. We touched up on this last episode. In the last episode, what did we speak about? We spoke about how the creative people in the world are the ones who are the CEOs, the ones who've built the businesses. And what do? They hire college students and they hire people with degrees to then build their company and work.
Shortcut.
One second. Okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you go through the tough times and you go through the experience, you learn how to be creative.
Right.
If you take I will hurt you. If you take, no, I'm kidding. If you take the shortcuts and you go to school and you get the degree, right? Good for you. You took the safe bet. You probably get a really good job, but you're only going to make money up to a certain cap until you become creative. But you sacrifice the experience to become creative because you chose to learn from the people who are already creative.
That's interesting.
That's my point.
That makes sense.
You got that right.
I think so.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's okay
but
if you're spazzing out.
If you have the resource there right in front of you, maybe you should take it. And here's what I mean. If you were going to America, would you walk there or would you take a plane?
I'd swim.
Honestly, if I was so gung-ho about going to America and it was the most important thing to me in the world, I'd find any possible way to get there.
Right, but you
walk,
get there,
swim, boat, fly, it doesn't matter.
Right. But you'd get there the most efficient way.
What?
You'd be there. You'd go the most efficient way you could find.
Yeah,
That's
I'd agree
it, but
with
that's
that.
only if you'd only go the most efficient way if you have the resources to burn on.
Right.
that.
So the most efficiently possible way. So you're gonna go by bike if you don't have a plane.
Well, so let me ask you this. You want to be a writer, right?
Right.
Are you telling me that the way to become the greatest writer in the world is by taking a class from all the greatest writers in past time and today, or is it from continuously writing and building your craft on your own and creating your own niche and your own product and your own vision?
I would say that it's helpful to take a class, but you need to do research.
But here's the question.
I'm going to interject here because there's a midway here. There's actually a midway over here.
Yeah.
Really, on one hand, you should be spending time getting the experience. It's huge and very important.
Right.
On the other hand, there are people who went down, you should be you, always. But there are people who went down the path from the struggling writer to becoming successful. So for sure that you should be learning from them. What were their struggles and how they persevered and what you can do to not get into those situations and do what they did to be good. That's where they say, Tony Robbins talks about this a lot. How do you be successful and learn skills really fast? You model the people exactly how they act and how they think and do what they do, and you can learn things incredibly fast. You don't have to, it's not the shortcut, this is the actual way of doing
what
things.
I'm trying to say is that I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that you're listening.
Was it the work hard?
Huh?
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Oh, okay, it's okay. We have to move on after this, but if you're looking for advice from someone that you think is an expert in that field, you're going to take whatever they say no matter what. Right?
Yeah.
Now we had this conversation earlier today.
Yeah, we did.
Here's the problem with that is that if you
it's sometimes wrong.
It's sometimes wrong.
That's
right?
right.
Because everybody's different. Everybody
you can't
looks
take it as the gospel.
Correct. Everyone's looking at it through different eyes, and everyone experiences different things. And as generations move forward, there's always going to be something better out there.
Right, that's what I was trying to say. Always go with yourself and whatever your
follow your heart.
Whatever, you have to put your own personality into things. You have to do things your way.
Exactly.
But you could still use other people's successes to grow your own success.
I am not doubting that at all. My point is, Use the people who have succeeded before you as vessels to learn how to succeed. Do not be just like them.
Preach.
As we mentioned in one of our first episodes, Niels Bohr. An expert is a person who has made all the mistakes that can be made in a very narrow field. Making a mistake, one of those mistakes that you could make is blindly following someone who you think is going to take you to the promised land. The only person who's going to take you to the promised land is you.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Exactly, but you can still use the failures of others to be successful on top of them.
With that being said, we are going to move on to exciting news. I'm going to let you take this. Front page material.
Front page material.
Go for it.
So if you notice, we have a paper on. It's been sitting here. A couple of months ago, thank you to my mother-in-law, we submitted content to be on the front page of the In Jerusalem magazine, which happened this past weekend, and making things happen. Actually, I don't even know where they picked this picture
Why
from.
don't you put it closer to the...
Wait, that's the picture?
Yeah, I don't know where I don't even know where they got this from.
Where are you guys?
We're not in here. We're actually on the inside. Whatever. The point is,
cover.
we made the cover. We got the cover, and things are happening because of this whole article.
Please, actually explain that to me. Well, explain, not to me. Explain that.
Which part?
Howard, well...
First of all, Jerusalem Post has a huge reach.
Right, Jerusalem Post has a huge reach, and this is an example of why publicity is very good.
Yeah.
Go.
Go what?
Like,
explain.
What
happened was actually how we got this article came about was I pitched to my mother-in-law, who's a writer there, an article about. Shut up. I pitched to my mother-in-law an article about an article for actually one of the startups there, and then she said to me, "Oh wait, I could probably pitch you guys because you guys seem to have a story." So I'm like, "Okay." So she told me what she needed from us. She sent us a whole list of questions, and they sent a photographer to one of our events. And waiting. Finally, the article came out, and that's an example of
made the cover.
Yeah, it made the cover. And this is an example of
being resourceful.
I don't know, of just getting stuff done. Like
Getting lucky, honestly.
It could have been lucky, but we also wanted to make something happen. We wanted to push. Our whole thought process was about getting our name out there,
right.
And this is one of the ways that happened to work in the right time,
right?
And because of that, very interesting things are happening.
Very interesting things that we're not going to share.
Yeah, very like
under the
hood, crazy stuff.
But it's that. I mean, truth be told, it's not every day someone gets to be featured in a newspaper.
No. So let's talk about resourcefulness and picking up the paper.
Okay. Especially
whack.
Especially one that has a lot of reach.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. I'm getting
I got that out.
I'm getting attacked majorly in this episode. I'll take it. It's okay. I'll take it.
To find a newspaper. Okay, go on.
In any sense, we are building a Jerusalem Hub Mastermind group.
Yes.
For those who are interested in a mastermind group, you want to describe what a mastermind group is real quick?
Mastermind group is a group of like-minded individuals that want to accomplish big things in life, and no negativity, just talking about growth or ideas and how to make these ideas monetizable.
Maybe we'll create like an online forum talking about Think and Grow Rich and hear what other people's inputs are. In any sense,
maybe we'll do that we have a Facebook group, so maybe we'll turn that into a
mastermind group.
Hell
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in being a part of our mastermind group, you can email me at shalom@jerusalemhub.com.
Yeah.
Spell that for us.
SHALOM.
He's finally going to use his email.
Yeah, I knew you about that. It's SHALOM@jerusalemhub.com. If you're interested in being in our mastermind group, we would love to have you part of our mastermind group. And yeah, with that, so basically moving on. If you're in the middle of building your own business, or you're trying to pursue something great in your own life, just keep making noise, keep moving forward.
Yep.
Because you never know when it's all going to come together, and when it does, it comes in abundance. We've mentioned this many times. As far as our challenge to you for getting out of your comfort zone, we want to hear about how you have been resourceful in certain things that you've been trying to pursue and achieve in life. We want to get your tips as well. Maybe some things that we didn't mention. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
If you'd like, we would love it for you guys. If you really enjoy our content, or if you want to just support us, or both, please hit and like that subscribe button on YouTube, as well as follow us on Facebook.
Like, share, subscribe.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
We have follow our LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Podcast. Give us good feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
Wherever you're listening to, iTunes, Google.
Comment,
Anchor,
subscribe.
blah, blah, blah.
It really helps us
Stitcher.
out. Thank you very much for those who've already done so. And with that being said,
This concludes
episode 18 of the Jerusalem Hub audio experience. I think it was a good one.
It was a good one.
We will see you next week.
You gonna do the thing with the...
What thing?
The hand.
Right. We've gone my way.
Bye-bye.
If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe, support us, like, share, and subscribe, and you'll get more of our content, whether you like it or not.